Yo, what's good, guys? This should be the last tier list. This will cover all pitchers, so you shouldn't see any more tier list or lazy content, whatever you want to call it, until set three at the minimum. I'll probably will rank all the set three stuff when it comes out. Um, but yeah, let's get into it, right? So we have our pitchers here. I tried to shuffle them a little bit. Shows on save feature doesn't seem to be working, so I can't really shuffle them myself or have them be shuffled. So I threw some around, but the end will probably be reliever heavy. So if you are curious about relievers, that's where they will be. But let's get into it. Few disclaimers. This will be catered to Hall of Fame and Legend difficulties that I play on. You typically want different things on those higher difficulties. You want more control. Outlier is still valuable, but not as important as it is on All Star. Really, on All Star and lower difficulties, you're looking for really high speed differentials and outlier to try to get strikeouts because it's very hard to get strikeouts in those difficulties. But on higher difficulties, you want control. You obviously still want some velo, but you want high control, high hits, high clutch, stuff like that. So with that being said, you would think Greg Max would be S. I'd say he's A. S should be reserved, I think, for the best five starters in the game. If I could make a rotation, these would be my five. I don't think Maddox cracks that even on Legend. Billy Wagner, first reliever. I think he's still S tier. I think this is one of the only reasons that you guys should still be doing the live series collections. I think him, Sosa, and Jeter are really the only cards that are still usable at this point. So I do like him. He's a great lefty specialist. One of the few lefties I feel comfortable pitching to righties without the bullpen. So he does have that. Darvish, I think, is top of A tier. I think he is in a conversation to be in the best rotation in the game still. But he is about to expire. And, I've seen him get lit up. I've seen him pitch great. I've seen him be able to put a cutter in the corner 3 pitches in a row. And I've seen him miss his spots completely. So, A tier. Loop, S tier, the best lefty specialist in the game, better than Roldis Chapman in my opinion. He's pretty close to unhittable lefty lefty. He's pretty tough, and a free card should be in everybody's bullpen. Cano, probably mid A tier. I haven't had a lot of success with this guy, but a lot of other people have. I see the potential with him, but you really got to be on those high difficulties like Legend to see that outlier sinker really eat people up to its true potential. So for that, I'm going to put him in A. You could make an argument for S, but probably not. Scherzer, very similar to you, Darvish, knocking on the door of the best rotation in the game, isn't quite there, and he's also about to expire, so take that with a grain of salt. Felix Bautista, top of A. One trick pony, but his one trick is really good, right? You tunnel that fastball and that splitter, and it's a deadly combination, especially on those higher difficulties where he hides the ball so well in that outlier, that outlier procs, and he's throwing 103-mile-an-hour fastballs and 90-mile-an-hour splitters. That's going to be hard to hit. Hoffman, I think I have the 95 on here, so we'll wait for him. Bob Feller, pretty much is Bob Gibson. Slightly worse control than Gibson, but Gibson has horrendously large bars on higher difficulties anyway, so they're basically the same pitcher for me. So top of A, I think he's solid, not great. Cole, the new Garrett Cole that came out, if he had outlier, I think he would be in the conversation for best rotation in the game. Without it, I think he's A. He's really solid. He's better than all these guys, but not by a lot. The cutter really saves him. If they gave him outlier, he would have been kind of nasty, but it's unfortunate. Kershaw, for me, he's one of the better lefties you can buy on the market that is a starting pitcher. I think his delivery is kind of funky. It's not exactly like Kershaw's delivery in the past. It is a little different. Kind of threw me off a little bit. The ball kind of warps out of his hand if you really watch it. But it's not enough to make him S tier. Paxton, I thought this card would be good. I'm going to put him B tier. I think I would rather use all of these. I pitched him in one ranked game. He did get the win for me, but he looked like BP. Sometimes when you're a good player and you're using a card, you're kind of, looking at how stuff breaks and what it looks like coming out of the hand, and he kind of looked like BP. Scuball, I think he looked solid. I I think with his hits and stuff, I can't put him higher than B. I really want to. Both of the Tigers Kaiju pitchers they came out with are really solid options, and would not be bad as a 3-4-5 in a rotation. But I don't think they're great. I'm pretty sure they both have pretty low pitching clutch. So that hurts them a little bit, but they do have good pitch mixes, just not top end pitch mixes. Alvarado, a lot of people probably would want him in S. I think he kind of is a foul ball merchant. He gives up a lot of foul balls in online play because he throws four pitches, three of which are fastballs, separated by like 3 miles an hour or less. So he is going to get a lot of foul balls, right? If your opponent guesses fastball and they're off by a little bit, they're going to foul it every time. You're going to have a lot of long at bats with him. But lefty lefty, that sinker is really hard to hit, and he is up here with these guys lefty lefty. You're just going to see a lot of foul balls when your opponent really starts to hone in to that timing window that Alvarado has. Verlander, I think, has a conversation for top five in the game. That being said, he is probably 4 or 5. He is very similar to two other pitchers on this list, one of which is better than him. One is more of a budget option of him. Really do like him as a Tigers fan, but he's just not exactly great. Not as dominant as you would expect an S tier to be. Tom Seaver for me, top of A tier. Could be back into S if you do pitch with that pitching combination pretty well. For me, it's not superb. I would want like a cutter or something. For me, sinker fastball is pretty redundant. You have to have a really good sinker or an outlier fastball to make that combination worth it, which he does not. But I do think he is a really solid option, and if you are somebody that pitches well with that combination, he could easily be S tier. Mo S, one of the best right-handed relievers in the game right now. There's not that many dominant ones, but he is one of them. Super high walks through nine, gets really small pars. Obviously has max hits, max clutch. He's phenomenal. Bob Gibson, a lot of people would probably want him in the S. For me, he's basically Bob Gibson. I would say probably these three are in order. I would probably rather use Bob than these other two, but like I said, on legend that pitching difficulty, not legend hitting and Hall of Fame pitching, but true legend difficulty. His bar sizes are huge. He leaves a lot of stuff down the middle. He is not perfect by any means on legend. Gagne, also kind of a one-trick pony. Two changeups is redundant. They do pretty much the exact same thing. They're going to get hit the same. You can have the same swing and hit both of them. So basically, he only has 4 pitches. The curveball's a gimmick pitch. You're not going to throw it more than probably once per at-bat, or even once per inning, but it does keep them guessing, and they do have to respect the fastball and slider because of it. It makes him good, but not dominant. For a while, he was our best right-handed reliever in the game. Not anymore. Devin Williams, B. One-trick pony, but the one trick is really good, so you could argue him and Felix are similar, but that screwball is just so slow. Even with its kind of tight timing window that you have to be on it, it's still really slow and gives people time to adjust. And it's not like he's humming in 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. He's touching 95, 96, maybe 97 once out of every 8 fastballs. So he's not really throwing with a ton of velocity, and the screwball is just not that great of a pitch. Pedro, I think the second best starting pitcher in the game right now. He is basically slightly better Justin Verlander. He is phenomenal. He has more speed differential than Verlander. I think his curveball is a little better, even though he does tend to hang it a lot. And Pedro tops out more than anybody I've seen all year. He is routinely hitting 102, 103, 104 on his fastballs. He is absolutely nasty, and that cutter being 97 miles an hour is no joke. Love Pedro. Bard, definitely outdated at this point, but still a fair option. If you guys are on lower difficulties, he's not hard to earn. He would be good on All-Star. Probably not too great on Hall of Fame. Nolan Ryan, I think, has an argument for the best 5 in the game. Again, pretty much a one-trick pony, but that one trick is really good, and if you match with him on a bad server, that 102-mile-an-hour fastball turns into like 108-mile-an-hour fastball. He stands really close to the plate. He looks like he's 6'10" when he's pitching. He is nasty. He is pretty nasty, but if you get on the wrong server, you can light him up. He is a one-trick pony. Most people don't pitch with him correctly. You should throw about 50-50 sinker to fastball with him. Most people don't do that. Lance Lynn looks solid. Card I never really used. I think he's in this B tier, kind of like BP pitchers. He has good pitching, like decent. He has a decent pitch mix. He has a curveball that you probably wouldn't want him to throw, but in general, he's fine. You know, that's kind of what B tier is fine. If you can't afford somebody in A tier, or you don't want to earn them, or they're like set one cards, then B tier is fine. Their replacement level they can do in a pinch. Juan Marichal, I think this guy's fine. He is a junk pitcher. There are not too many junk pitchers in the game. Pretty sure he throws like a 70-mile-an-hour screwball. Just he throws absolute trash, which can be a good thing, especially because a lot of people probably haven't seen him. I know I haven't faced him online, and I've only pitched him once, so he can be decent. Strasburg, maybe unpopular opinion. I think he's B. I think he's fine. He's probably one of the better like other program cards that we've gotten. He's fine. He has like Tom Seaver's pitch mix with decent through nines, but not Seaver level. He's just worse Tom Seaver. Dustin May can still be solid. I think he's kind of suffering from that like Corbin Burns syndrome at this point in the year. Everybody's just seen him so much. They know every combination you can throw. They know in every location you want to hit, every tunnel you can do. So Dustin May's just been kind of overused at this point, and I feel like batters are kind of getting used to him, and he's getting easier to hit. Kluber, I was unfortunate enough to match with this Kluber on a absolutely horrendous server, and he was throwing 102-mile-an-hour sinkers. He's kind of tough. He has a decent pitch mix. The slurve can be hung and not get punished the way it probably should be. So he is solid. Probably bottom of A tier, top of B tier, but I'll give him A tier for now. Roki, still S tier, still absolutely phenomenal. More so a legend pitcher than a Hall of Fame or All Star pitcher. His speed differentials are so close together that you really need to be on legend to see how nasty he really is. Otherwise, you're just going to see a lot of foul balls. If he had a splitter instead of his forkball, he would be super tough. He would be unbelievably tough to hit. But he is still S tier. DeGrom, can't really separate him from Kluber. More of a one-trick pony. A lot of people have seen DeGrom over the years. Obviously, he got the All-Star card 2 years ago, and then he got a pretty decent card last year, I thought. So he is solid. Has a pretty much default pitch mix for the most part, but does have the outlier fastball. Has good pitching clutch. Has decent hits through nine, decent control. And it's Jacob DeGrom. Mize, this is the part two of these Tigers pitchers. I think they're very similar. I think one of them might have a cutter. I'd say it's probably Mize. But I used Scooball last year and he was really good. Deceptively good. So I think they're both solid. They're both replacement level guys. If you need a backup pitcher, if one of your guys in rotation isn't cutting it, these two would be my picks above all these others. Grayson could maybe have an argument for S tier. This is one of the more slept on cards of the year for me. He is the exact same as Justin Verlander and Pedro, just slightly worse than both of them. He is absolutely phenomenal. If he had his windup from last year, I'd like him a whole lot more because out the stretch, he did some really weird stuff with his hands. He got a lot of separation. It was kind of funky. But in general, I think he's about here. I think he has an argument to be in your 5 spot in a God Squad rotation. Fergie, I really like this card early in the year. I don't think he's aged particularly well. That being said, I will throw him here. Would be a great all-star pitcher. Would probably be a decent Hall of Fame pitcher. Has that sinker. I think he can run the sinker up to like 98 or his fastball up to 98. And then has a forkball that he throws at like 74, 78 miles an hour. It is incredibly slow. He is a very good pitcher because of it. Very good replacement level guy. If you didn't try him out, time's running out, but he is very solid, and I did use him week 1 a lot. Randy, the best starter in the game. So we have what? Sorry about the yawning. We have 5. We have 5 here now. So I'd be fine with putting 1 or 2 more, but Randy is undisputed the best starting pitcher in the game, the best left-handed starting pitcher in the game. He is nasty. Rich, I think, is probably top of A tier. I feel more comfortable with Mariano Rivera on those high difficulties where the par sizes are very big. Goose doesn't have a lot of out pitches. He's either throwing that outlier fastball or he's throwing an inside sinker to a righty or it's a slurve. The way you use Goose effectively is you throw the fastball, the sinker, and the changeup a lot, but a lot of people don't do that, and 2 of those pitches have pretty horrendous par sizes on them. I think he's A tier. I think he's pretty nasty, but he's going to hang a lot of pitches. This Shohei, I'm fine with putting an S, right? And that's going to be weird for a lot of people, but it's because of his utility value, is what I'm trying to say. You can pitch him every game, right? They somewhat fixed it. You can't pitch him every game off your bench, but if he is in rotation and you don't start him, you can pitch him every game. So it's still kind of broken. I wouldn't advise that anybody do it. It is kind of scummy. I don't personally do it. I just use them when I need them, which is definitely not every other game for me. Usually when I'm blowing somebody out, I'll bring in Shohei to just kind of eat some innings. So I think he does bring value because of that. This Smoltz card I have not personally used, but I think he does look really solid. Throws really hard, but does not actually have outlier. So he does look solid. Has a splitter. That's a big plus. I do really like him. Mad Bum at this point in the year, similar to Dustin May, except worse. He throws really slow. He's basically James Paxton. Throws pretty slow, has decent control, but the thing Paxton has over him is he throws slightly harder, and not everybody has seen him for the whole year. A lot of people have seen Mad Bum. I light him up every time I see him. He's not that great anymore. Kerry Wood from the event, probably like similar to Bob Gibson and Bob Feller, really bad control, right? He's going to have really big par sizes, but hold up, give me a sec. And we're back. But he does have pretty good, he has good pitches. He has outlier, has max pitch clutch, decent hits. So he is solid in that regard, but he does struggle from having pretty low walks. Chris Sale, gimmick card, right? If the gimmick works, he's going to be hard for your opponents to hit. If the gimmick doesn't work, he's going to get shelled. So, high risk, high reward with Chris Sale. I think he is solid, but I think he would be a lot better if people weren't stacking their lineups with righties because of Randy Johnson. So, I think he does kind of suffer from that. I would probably rather have Seaver over him. I'd rather have Grayson over him. And I think that's probably about where he is. Don't take the order too seriously, but when I do see something like that, I will fix it. McCullers, B tier. He's solid. He'll do in a pinch. He's a free card. Would be better on those lower difficulties because of his super low control. But has really high hits, has max out pitch clutch. So he is solid for that. Has a decent pitch arsenal. Hunter Brown, another replacement level guy that's pretty nasty. He is more of a Hall of Fame legend guy. Tunnels that splitter and that outlier fastball really well. He is pretty tall in game, it feels like. So he is decent. He has given me fits in the past. He is solid. Chapman. Definitely S tier. I don't know where I'm going with that. He's up there with Loop. I think he has the plus over Loop of you can pitch with righties, pitch to righties with him. I do feel confident pitching to righties with Chapman. Obviously, you tunnel that fastball and that slider, and he's phenomenal with that. But I think Loop is a very lefty specialist. Rob Nin, very underrated card. Don't see a lot of people using him. Has that splitter, has an outlier fastball, has kind of a weird delivery. He is solid and can make anybody's bullpen. Trinan, I'm putting bottom of A. I've seen a lot of people advocating for him. For me, his walks are just horrendous. He gets huge par sizes on the All Star difficulty. I can only imagine on those higher difficulties what he gets. Not going to be in my rotation. But Kenley will be. I think Kenley is the best right-handed reliever in the game right now. I think he is slightly better than Mo, even with the lower walks. He throws his cutter harder. That's about it. And he has some shenanigans out the windup, which I always like. So I do like Kenley. Hader is a lefty specialist and not a particularly great one at that. I don't. Do we have anybody else? We do. Okay. Yeah, Hader, I'm gonna put in B tier. Right, lefty, it's really hard to hit off of him. Pitch to a righty with him, you should expect to give up a home run. He does not pitch well to opposite-handed hitters, and that's kind of always been his weak point. Them getting rid of one of his fastballs made that even worse. Hoffman, the 99 Hoffman, I think he's solid. Kind of throws junk. Can run up a fastball every once in a while, but mostly he's throwing junk. So if your opponent can't hit junk, he's going to be really good. If they can, he's not going to be so great. Kimbrel, they kind of saved this card by giving him a sinker, but other than that, he is solid. You can make the argument he should be in a top end rotation, but I won't. He has basically Joe Random pitch mix, so really don't like him for that. Dibble, pretty similar. If you like Kimbrel, you'll probably like Dibble. Literally, he is a one-trick pony. He throws that outlier fastball, he tunnels it with his cutter. That's what Dibble does. So, if you play somebody who can't differentiate between those pitches, he's going to be absolutely phenomenal, but by no means is he S tier. I would not ever feel comfortable pitching with Rob Dibble. Eckersley, really underwhelming card, to be honest. Absolutely horrendous pitching clutch. He can dot, but his delivery is not as funky as you would think it is. I would probably rather have every reliever up here over Eckersley. I think Trinan's close. I'd probably rather have the outlier than have to use a BP pitcher, pretty much. That can put it in the corner 1 out of 2 times. Franco. I think Franco's solid. This is our lefty specialist in A tier. Throws a lot of junk, but can run up a fastball. He's basically a left-handed Trevor Hoffman. So he is a very solid option for that. He is kind of a lefty I would feel somewhat comfortable pitching to righties with because of him throwing junk so much. So he is solid. Barlow, top of B tier. I think he is solid, right? For 10K, I assume he's about 10, 15K still. You don't get a lot better. He's very solid, has good stats, a decent pitch mix. It's not phenomenal, but he has really decent stats, and it'll easily play. Lee Smith, probably similar to that, probably a similar argument. He has a better pitch mix, but worse hits than Barlow. It's really, what are you really looking for? Lee's a little outdated, kind of suffers from that mad bum syndrome of everybody seeing him a lot all year. So they are kind of accustomed to hitting off of him. Phillips, I'm going to put him in B tier, and that might sound kind of sacrilegious to some people, but he is right-handed Jose Alvarado, right? Most people are way more comfortable hitting righty-righty than lefty-lefty, so he loses a lot of his value being a right-handed Alvarado, right? I talked about it with Alvarado. All his fastballs are the same pitch, or the same speed. Evan Phillips is the exact same way. He throws 3 fastballs. They're all pretty much the same speed. And throws a slurve, which is better than Alvarado's curveball, but it's still not really a pitch you want to be throwing a lot. I'll crack a little bit since I have Nin here. I would say Phillips is, about where Nin is. Soto, good lefty specialist. Again, another lefty that I would be fine pitching to righties with. I think he's pretty solid in that regard. A lot of people have kind of phased him out, which I can't blame them. There are some better options, but he is still kind of, decent. This Duran card, I think, has some potential. I'll probably put him here. He's very similar to Rob Nin. They're basically the same card. Really, no reason for you to go out and buy this Nin when this Duran exists for free. Just go get Duran. He'll be most of, if not better, than what Rob Nin is. And yeah, guys, that is the pitching tier list. So we'll do a quick summary. I think your best 5 in the game is Randy, Pedro, Verlander, Roki, and then take your pick of either Nolan Ryan and Shohei Ohtani. I think that's how I would make the best 5 rotation in the game. I think the only other guys that really have arguments are Seaver, Rodriguez, and I guess Chris Sale, maybe Bob Gibson if you're really good with Bob Gibson. Um, top end relievers, obviously, these 3 should be a staple in everybody's bullpen. And then Wagner's very solid for what he is. Mo's very solid. Franco and Soto are good lefty options. And, Hoffman and Gossage and Gagne all kind of do their own thing. If you want more one-trick ponies, Alvarado is great lefty-lefty with that outlier sinker. And Bautista is great with hiding the ball and having that outlier fastball. But that is every relevant pitcher, I think, ranked. And I feel pretty good about this. So, yeah, guys. So, until next time, I'll see you. If this was helpful at all, feel free to like and subscribe. Peace.